In this video, we're going to be assembling a quartz watch, a digital watch. That's why here on Watch Workbench, we're actually out in the garage at the workbench because we need to be near the soldering station to put this thing together. Now, quick wrist check. I felt like this was a fitting watch to be wearing today. This is a Sonda 6216, and I'll show you why I think this was a fitting watch for today. This is also a digital watch, and you can see all the guts inside there. This thing cost me a whopping $5 on AliExpress, so this is not an expensive watch by any means, but it is reminding me that watches are supposed to be fun. So hopefully this project will be fun and I won't pull out too much of my hair while I'm putting it together. Now, the kit that I got here, I actually also got on AliExpress. I think it was like $4 or something like that. I'll have it linked down below if you want to do it. Now, it does look like a hockey puck when you're done with it. So my plan is after I'm done with the board, I'm going to put it in that hockey puck, but then I'm going to work on a 3D printed case that'll make this thing a little bit smaller and more form-fitting. Now, in addition to the kit itself, there's a couple things you're going to need. First, you're obviously going to need some sort of a soldering iron. Now, the one that I have is a little bit fancier than the one that you need, and it's also by Radio Shack, which has long since gone out of business, but this one has variable temperature, which is really helpful, and I can also change out the tips on it. Now, if you don't have a soldering iron or have never soldered before, don't worry, I'm not that great at it too, so my solders are going to probably look terrible. But I do have a link to my main channel where I talk about how to solder if you need to kind of learn the basics or need a recommendation on a soldering iron. You're also going to need a pair of snippers, and a small set is really what you need, and you'll see why when we start building this thing. A pair of tweezers is helpful, and I'm using this stand to hold everything in place. Now, this stand is not needed, but again, it does help. Another thing that is not needed but will help is some tape, and this is to hold things in place while you're soldering into the board. And finally, I guess you're going to need a battery. I'm guessing by the size of the contacts here, it's a CR2126. The instructions that this thing came with are god-awful. So I'm guessing right now, but we'll figure that out at the end of the video and I'll let you know. Now I'm going to start this process by soldering on these two large chips here. That's this guy. Now, the first thing is figuring out what direction these go. Now, if you look very, very closely, and I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, it shows a little divot right there, and then on the chip itself, there is a little divot right there. We want to make sure that those things are lined up correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing and very carefully insert it into both sets of holes. Now, in theory, this should not back out. It's held in pretty well, but we're going to use that piece of tape, like I mentioned before, to tape this sucker down to make sure it doesn't move. And then while we're at it, we're going to take our other chip and put it on the other side. Again, lining up that little divot that you can see on the front of the chip. Now with our soldering iron good and hot, we're going to go in and solder each one of these little joints. Now my soldering skills are not great, but they will do the trick. Now one thing that I did learn a long time ago, this is work from one direction to the other. That way you're not blocking yourself in later on. So right now I did these ones, and then there are some other little bits I got to do around them, but these are kind of the biggies, and I don't want to have to go in and do work around these later. All right, so those are good. It would not be a bad idea every time you do a set like this to grab a magnifying glass and look them over and make sure you actually got solid solders on everything so you don't have any loose connections. The next thing to tackle are the resistors. Those are these little blue things. I've seen them in kits different colors, but these are going to go up here in the little 10K and 10K because these are 10K resistors. Now when you thread these through, try to do it so you can see it here. You're going to thread through one side and then bend the wire. I'm going to use tweezers, otherwise my big fat fingers are going to block your view. Turn this guy around. Oh, trying to do this and leaving a view for the camera is difficult. Turn this guy around here. Never mind. Going to use my fingers. So I've got the resistors in place right there and right there. And what I did on these, I bent the wires over to kind of hold it in place so I don't have to use the tape. So now let's flip this guy over and get those soldered in place. The big thing you got to be careful about when you're doing this is not accidentally shorting out one connection to the next. All right, so our resistors are now in place. Now, just to get that wire out of the way, we're going to come in here with our snippers, snip off the excess wire. We're going to clean these up a little bit better when we're all done, but that'll at least get those out of the way for now. Okay, so if these two portions are the brain of the operation, then now we are going to install the heart of the operation. This is the quartz crystal. If you're familiar with how quartz watches work, this is basically the heart. It's the heartbeat, what regulates the watch. That's why they're so accurate. And those are going to go into these two holes right here. So we're going to put it on in there, push it down, and then we're going to bend it over just like so. Now this one wants to move around on me, so we are going to tape this one in place. Now let's flip it over and get that one soldered in. Now this one on this side is actually grounded to one of the resistors, so it is okay to ground that one out. Another thing you want to make sure of, speaking of grounding things out, is the outside of this is metal. It is conductive. These little feet are also conductive. So if this is contacting those and bridging those two, you've got another problem on your hands. So make sure that these are not touching each other. Now what's interesting with mine is that on the directions it says that this is a Nixie tube. This is not a Nixie tube. I wish it was a Nixie tube. Nixie tube watches are very cool. Someday, maybe, I'll build one, or at least a Nixie tube clock, but it is not. One thing that did happen in transit is all the little pins got bent. So this is going to be a pain in the butt to get in there. So we're going to start with this side and get it on. When you put it on here, there's decimal points. You want to make sure the decimal points are on the bottom side of the watch. The bottom side of the watch is where that big contact pad is. And now the fun part about you coming along on this ride with me, because I have never built one of these before, is I forgot a part. That is this little guy right here. It is supposed to go right in between these two. It's still doable, but it's going to be a little bit more of a pain getting it all lined up and in there. So let's get that lined up and in there and solder that thing in place before we get ahead of ourselves. I'm glad I caught that. Would have been a bummer to put this whole thing together and not be able to figure out why it's not turning on. Now the screen, I actually cut off a bunch of the legs because they were bent in transit, but there is a lot of leg material here, so we're good to go. So we're going to drop this thing in place. All right, screen is taped in place. Let's get everything soldered together here for the screen. All right, we're getting darn close to being done now. We're probably about 3/4 of the way through. We've got one more resistor and 2 capacitors to put in and 2 switches. So we're going to get the capacitor in on this side here. Pull that guy through. So the capacitor goes right next to the screen. And now we've got 2 more capacitors. These guys go right here on this side of the screen. Those are these little tiny guys right here. We'll drop one, drop the other in place. We are so close to done now. So now we have these buttons. We got to put these in place. Those go here and here. So let's get those things. These are kind of nice how they are set up. They kind of click into place and then you solder them. Let's get these switches soldered in place, or the buttons, I should say. I guess buttons are switches. So the buttons are done. So now to power this thing, we've got the little battery clip right here. That's going to slot right into those little slots. And that should hold itself in place while we solder it. But just to be safe, let's throw some tape on it. All right, so now for the moment of truth. I've got a 2032, which is my best guess as to what this thing is powered by. And we're on. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be doing, but we're on. So I'm going to read the directions now and figure out how to set this thing. All right, so I got the time set. It's going to flash like that on my camera, but it does not look like that in person. To set the time, you hold both buttons until it reads 12, long press that button for 3 seconds, and then use this button to set hours, hit that button again to set minutes. Really simple. The one thing I've noticed is this thing is in military time, 24-hour time, and I don't know how to change it to 12-hour time, but we'll figure that out later, if it's possible. It's funny, every time I make something like this, I get real kind of nerded out, and I don't know why I'm so impressed that it works, because this wasn't a difficult build, but I'm just impressed that it works. So now we're going to put it in the case. Now the cool thing about the case is because it's layers like this, you see the way each chunk of the case is a layer? Measuring the parts I need to make this thing a 3D printed setup actually should be relatively easy. Now we're going to start with the case back. Now all these have like a protective film on it, which we're going to get off before we put it together. If I can get my... come on. I'm going to scratch the case trying to get the scratch protective film off this thing. Okay, there we go. Get that film off. So this is the case back itself. Something I'm sure I'm going to get on this thing. I am not taking the same level of care that I do when I'm assembling regular watches. If I was handling case and internals and whatnot, I'd be wearing gloves. I'm clearly not that concerned about this right now. I'm partially not that concerned because I'm not intending on really using this case as a case. So we're going to run the strap through, just like so. The cool thing about this is you could, I guess, run pretty much any NATO style strap with this thing. That's kind of neat. Well, just in removing the film, I managed to break the case. Great. Well, I don't know what we're going to do from here. I guess I'm going to just remove the rest of the film. We're going to do our best. We'll see if I can still make this work. I got faith. I can still make this work. And it looks like this thing is all held together with screws. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get the screws started, and I'm going to tape them to the back so I can stack everything, kind of like how we were taping everything before. And then I'm going to try to just get this busted part on there the best I can. See if I can get it to just stay put. I guess this is what happens when you buy watch kits from AliExpress for $4. You get what you pay for. All right, so I got some tape on there, holding the back in place. We won't call them broken. How about this? We'll call it modded. How about that? That sounds better. All right, so I'm not sure at what point the video cut out. My card filled up, but now we got to get this other nut in place over on this side. So the two little nuts go in there. I'm going to pull the board out of the way for a second, because these nuts go right in there. Now remember, that is the broken piece of the case, but we're going to just wing and a prayer this so we can hold it all together. It's like my life. Board goes on top of that. And here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping now that this piece will help hold everything else together, including the busted parts. Just going to line up, push down. It seems to be working. Go me. And then there's another layer of case. Goes on there just like that. Okay, this is making sense to me now. And then our last bit of case. Okay, our last bit of case broke into like 3 pieces. So yeah, this case is brittle. The little bits right here, you can see how tiny those are and how easy those are to break. So there's no way I'm going to get this thing together the way it is intended. But whatever, it's going together. We're going to do it. Ta-da! See, just like that. We know what we're doing. We're going to ignore that piece and the piece I dropped on the ground. One of those things where I'm not really sure how you're supposed to do this, so we're going to wing it. But I'm pretty sure I got that thread up. It's threaded. I did a thing. I did a thing. I do actually, now that I'm thinking about it, somewhere laying around here, I do have UV stabilized adhesive stuff. Maybe I'll give that a shot. My next problem is this situation, but that's okay, because that piece is going to go like that, right? Something like that. And that piece is going to go like this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these screws here and drop one on the floor, then find it and thread it through. Now I know these are not supposed to go on yet because I got to put the top on, but I want to get this stuff in place here because I'm going to look around and see if I can find that UV stabilized junk that I've got. See if I can glue it back in place. So this is going to go a little long, so we're not going to thread it down too tight because it'll bust right through the acrylic on the bottom. This is a cool project that's turning into a big mess. Okay, so I'm going to run a piece of tape around this whole thing now. so we can keep all the busted parts where they're supposed to be. Like I said, I'm hoping none of this is going to matter because I'm planning on making a different case for it. Well, a long time ago in my bucket of random glue and work glove, I had UV curing glue. Guess what? I don't have UV curing glue. I don't know where it went, so plan B. And plan B is going to be super glue. UV curing glue would have been cool because that stuff is clear, but I don't have any, so this is what we're rolling with. So I let the glue dry, and look at that. This thing works. Now, I still haven't figured out how to get out of military time, and that's okay. I'm used to reading military time, but it works. So thank you so much for coming along on this little journey with me. This was a lot of fun. I more wanted to build this thing for the board and not the case because I want to make a 3D printed case for it. That'll be a video down the line if I ever get good enough at 3D printing and design to actually do that. Now the link to this kit, if you want to do it, is going to be down in the description below, along with any of the tools that you may need and the other videos that I talked about. Now if you want to check out another DIY digital watch, Ben over at the Printed Watch, or the Printable Watch, he's working on one right now and he's been putting out some update videos. So excited to see what he comes up with. But if you have any questions about this, if you're making one of these, leave me a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button. This is one of our more goofy videos, but I had a lot of fun with it and I hope you did too. And of course, thanks for watching.